أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وارحم على عبدك ورسولك سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وسلم تسليما الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعد أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام را كتاب أحكمت آياته ثم فصلت من لدن حكيم خبير صدق الله العظيم. So we are inshallah today on Juz 12, which today we're going to be doing all of Surah Hud because we did not do the first 5 verses of Surah Hud that are in Juz 11 so that we could do the whole surah in entirety. We will finish Surah Hud today, inshallah. Surah Yusuf I'm saving for a special session that we will have sometime in the last 10 days, because for Surah Yusuf I will not be selecting gems from Surah Yusuf. I will be doing the entire Surah Yusuf. So that will be a whole separate broadcast. So today we're going to do Surah Hud, inshallah, and tomorrow we will continue Juz 13 after Surah Yusuf ends, Surah Ra'd. Interestingly, here for you are the verses that Imam al-Ghazali selected as jewels and pearls, and he has not selected any verses from Surah Yusuf. That is one of the reasons why I remember once somebody asked me to teach this book online to some of their students of their institute, Imam al-Ghazali's work, Jawahir al-Quran. And people don't often understand why Imam al-Ghazali, he was just making the selection. Obviously Surah Yusuf is an extremely important verse of Quran al-Kareem, as we will see when we do it, inshallah. But as such, there is no particular verse in Surah Yusuf that describes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a way that previous verses from Surahs 1 to 11 do. Nor is there as such a verse in Surah Yusuf specifically about believers and how they must do amal, Muslimin, how they must do amal on Sirat al-Mustaqim. And you will see that when we do Surah Yusuf. Alright? So Imam al-Ghazali, when he was mentioning this notion of jewels and pearls, it was more, number one, to know Allah Ta'ala, Marifatillahi, the jewels, and the second, to become the true slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to obey and worship Allah Ta'ala and obey all of His commands and follow Sirat al-Mustaqim, and that was the pearls. Alright. Introduction to Surah Hud. Hold on. Okay. So Surah Hud is the 11th Surah of Quran al-Kareem, and it is the second, as we mentioned yesterday when we did Surah Yunus. There's a series of 6 surahs that begin with Alif Lam Mim Ra, and also mention something to do with the book, describe the Quran al-Kareem in a particular manner. This is the second of those 6 surahs. And this is also an early Meccan surah, and it is revealed after Surah Yunus. So its order in the Quran al-Kareem is the same as the order in it which it was revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Sirah. And given that it is an early Meccan surah, it is also going to begin and talk a lot about Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's dawah and to the mushrikeen, polytheists, idolaters of Makkah Mukarramah, and the response to their different questions and allegations. But then what's going to happen is, for the bulk of the surah, verses 25 to 99, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to mention the stories of different prophets alayhim as-salam ajmain. From verse 25 to 48, the story of Nuh alayhi salam. From verse 50 to 60, the story of Sayyidina Hud alayhi salam. From verses 61 to 68, the story of Sayyidina Saleh alayhi salam. From verses 69 to 76, the story of, I wouldn't say story, some verses about Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam. Verses 77 to 83, some verses, and you can say the story of Nabi Lut alayhi salam. Verses 84 to 85, the story of Sayyidina Shu'ayb alayhi salam. And verses 96 or so, 96 to 99, some mention of Musa alayhi salam and brief mention of Fir'aun. But Allah Ta'ala later in the surah, in verse 120, will mention that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent down all these narratives to Nabi, has revealed all these narratives of these previous prophets to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in order that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's heart may become firm. So actually then now when you re-understand this surah in light of the seerah, and I want you to imagine and think about this as we go through, and imagine Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam receiving these revelations, and he does not know the stories of these earlier prophets. He's not a scholar of the Torah and Injil, right? He was spending his time in the cave in Mount Hira. He was not spending his time interacting with the Ahl Kitab in Makkah Mukarramah. So these are new things for him. But the important thing is when we look at the stories and the narratives, is that Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being told in the very early Meccan phase by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you're not alone, you're not the first prophet, there were many prophets before, you're not the first one whose community disbelieved in them, mocked them, debated with them, disputed with them, etc. And what's also going to come in all of these narratives is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so first Allah ta'ala will mention the message that all these prophets, right, Nuh alayhi salam, Hud alayhi salam, Saleh alayhi salam, Shu'ayb alayhi salam, etc., have given their people. Second, there will be mention of the way their community responded, which was with disbelief and disputation. And then third will come a mention of Allah Ta'ala's amr, his command, in which he sends his punishment on the disbelievers in the community of that prophet. Now this may be one reason why Nabi Isa alayhi salam is not mentioned here, whereas all the prophets, major prophets up to Musa alayhi salam are mentioned, and that is because Nabi Isa alayhi salam's community was not punished, right? And there's a sense that in his lifetime they did not dispute with him, they did not disbelieve in him. Actually, in Nabi Isa alayhi salam, it's a very interesting Quranic history of Christianity, Nabi Isa alayhi salam's community believed in him. It's after Allah Ta'ala raised him up, then they fell into this massive disbelief, which was to believe him and declare him to be the Son of God and to make him the object of their worship. But they did not do this in the lifetime of Nabi Isa alayhi salam, and therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's punishment and command does not come on the community of Nabi Isa alayhi salam in his lifetime. Similarly, Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the most extreme case, a radically different case from all of the prophets, is his companions, Sahaba Kiram radiyallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in. And the level of the yaqeen and absolute belief and faith, absolute obedience, absolute love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, absolute obedience and love for Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and absolutely, truly, faithfully transmitting the entire teachings of Deen, Islam, Quran and Sunnah to the next generation without corrupting its creed, aqidah, theology in any way. This is unique in the history of all humanity, unique in the history of all of the prophets, and that is why in addition to Quran Kareem, in addition to the seerah, the life and biography of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in addition to his hadith and sunnah, his sayings and teachings, and the normative practice we should derive therefrom, we must also deeply learn, and inshallah that's some course for some other time, inshallah, the lives and practices and examples and teachings of the Sahaba Kiram radiyallahu ta'ala anhu ajmain, and how they responded to situations they faced, and yes, to openly talk about differences between and amongst them and how they managed those differences, and the lives of the Sahaba, that entire generation, is an important source of knowledge for us. And because a lot of us are lacking that knowledge, and certainly our leaders are lacking that knowledge, they're unable to understand and therefore then guide towards the collective social teachings of Islam, because they're not aware of the knowledge and example of the Sahaba Kiram radiyallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in. Khair, getting back to the introduction and overview of Surah Hud, regarding this surah, Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has been authentically transmitted, that beloved Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Hud, means Surah Hud, and her sisters have turned my hair gray. So these were 5 surahs in total. The first is Surah Hud, surah number 11. The second is Surah Waqia. Surah Waqia, that is surah number 56 in Quran al-Kareem. The third is Surah An-Naba. The third is Surah Al-Mursalat, surah number 77. The fourth is Surah An-Naba, which is surah 78. And the fifth is Surah At-Takwir, surah 81. So surahs 11, 56, 77, 78, and 81. Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about these surahs collectively that Surah Hud and her sisters means Surah Hud and the other surahs like Surah Hud have turned my hair gray. Allahu Akbar Kabira. I will highlight to you one particular verse, cluster of verses in Surah Hud, which the ulama of tafsir have felt is responsible for Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam making this statement. Alright, now inshallah we can begin. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام را كتاب أحكمت آياته. Kitabun, this is a book. Alif Lam Ra, we've explained in Surah Yunus. Kitabun, this is a book. Just a book, actually. It's not dhalika, it's not hadha. Kitabun, a book. Uhkimat ayatuhu. So if you remember earlier in the series, we discussed, I apologize, I don't know what to do about all these notifications coming up. Khair. So we explained that earlier in the series, it came in Quran al-Kareem that Allah Ta'ala mentioned that the different verses of Quran, the muhkamat and the mutashabihat. But yes, there may be some individual verses like that are mutashabih, but Allah Ta'ala is saying about the Quran al-Kareem as an entirety, kitabun, as a scripture, as a revelation, as a revelatory text, as a book. Uhkimat ayatuhu, the ayat of that book, the verses of that revelatory book have been made muhkam, have been made extremely determined, have been made extremely firm, have been extremely established, have been made extremely strong. Thumma, and then after making them muhkam, fussilat, they have been made mufassal. Fussilat, they have been made extremely detailed and expounded upon, min ladun, from the presence of a Hakiman Khabir, from a being who is all wise and all aware. In other words, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. Min ladun, ladun can be translated from the presence. Ladun can also be translated from on the behalf of. Min ladun, on the behalf of, from the being who is all wise and all aware, yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is a very intense and beautiful description of Quran al-Kareem. Verses 2 to 4, Allah Ta'ala begins Surah Hud first with the message of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself. And then remember the title, because later you're going to see when we talk about the other blessed prophets alayhim assalam in the surah, that Allah Ta'ala is going to mention their message. So the message of the blessed messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah ta'budu illallah. So actually what's hidden here, what we call mazuf ibarah, this is the quote that the Prophet ﷺ is saying, so it would have been kul, right? Allah ta'budu illallah, that you should not worship. So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is addressing humanity, the mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah and believers, that you should not do ibadah, you should not worship illallah, except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Worship none except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ta'budu illallah. Allah ta'budu, that you should not worship any except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Innani lakum minhu nadhirun bashir wa bashir. And Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying that innani, truly I, lakum, am for you, in nadhirun wa bashir, I'm a warner and a bearer of glad tidings. Minhu, from him, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, next. وَأَنِ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ ثُمَّ تُوبُوا إِلَيْهِ. and that you should seek the forgiveness from your Rabb, and you should turn in repentance to Him. يُمَتِّعْكُمْ مَتَاعًا حَسَنًا إِلَى أَجْلٍ مُسَمَّى. If you do that, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will surely grant you, He will grant you what? يُمَتِّعْكُمْ مَتَاعًا, it means He will give you the beautiful, excellent, noble enjoyment. He will provide for you. He will provide for you the most beautiful and excellent and noble of provision, إِلَى أَجْلٍ مُسَمَّى, to an appointed term. Second, وَيُؤْتِي كُلَّ ذِي فَضْلٍ فَضْلَهُ. Allahu Akbar Kabira. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give every ذِي fadl, right? That person who is themselves of merit, Allah ta'ala will give every such person fadlahu, his fadl. So a person who brings their fadl, which is their iman, their a'mal saleh, then Allah ta'ala will bestow, Allah ta'ala will grant, yu'ti, He will grant every single kulla, the fadlin, every one of any fadl, merit, action, worth, virtue. Every such person Allah ta'ala will grant fadlahu, his fadl, his bounty and his grace. Okay, wa in tawallo, however, after all this beautiful explanation, if you turn back, if you turn away, فَإِنِّي أَخَافُ عَلَيْكُمْ عَذَابَ يَوْمٍ كَبِيرٍ. So the Prophet ﷺ is being revealed by Allah Ta'ala that he should address them and say that indeed I, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, أَخَافُ, I'm afraid, alaykum, for you, I truly fear for you. عَذَابَ يَوْمٍ كَبِيرٍ, the punishment of a great day. The punishment of a day that is great. إِلَى اللَّهِ مَرْجِعُكُمْ, and to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Him alone, marji'ukum, is your return. وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ, and He, Allah, is absolutely powerful on every single thing. Alright. So here, this is the message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So verse 1 is about Kitab, Quran al-Kareem, and verses 2 to 4 are Risala. They're explaining what is the message that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Blessed Messenger, is giving. This is the message. In 3 verses, Allah Ta'ala has encapsulated the kernel and core and crux of the message. And this is addressed first again to the mushrikeen, that they should make tawbah of their shirk, but it's addressed to all of humanity and addressed to the believers as well. Okay, then verses 5 to 6, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions something about His greatness, that nothing is concealed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Almighty. Allah, be well aware, behold, look, innahum yathnuna sudurahum, that they, which is the disbelievers, right, they fold up, and I'll tell you there's a particular historical occasion of revelation, they fold up their breasts liyastakhfu minhu, so that they're seeking to hide, istighfaf, they're seeking to hide from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah, behold, hina yastaghshuna thiyabahum, behold, when they cover themselves, they enshroud themselves, they cloak themselves, they wrap themselves, thiyabahum, with their garments, with their clothes, ya'lamu ma yusirruna wa ma yu'linun, He, Allah Ta'ala, knows every single thing that they conceal and every single thing that they disclose. Innahu alimun bidhatis sudur, that indeed He, Allah, is all-knowing regarding everything that lies within the breasts. Alright, so what is this verse referring to? Some of the ulama of tafsir have aligned this verse with an incident in the seerah about a particular mushrik of Makkah Mukarramah, Al-Akhnas, and that he inwardly in his heart he had deep hatred, malice, spite for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but he would outwardly meet the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a sweet manner. And others say generally, it's not just about this one person, but generally many of the mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah had this attitude, not just to Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but also to the Sahaba Kiram, to the believers, to the mu'mineen. And so they had a concealed hatred and enmity, whereas they had an outward, congeniality, collegiality. All right. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this first part, that they so this is what they try to conceal in their breast. That's the first part. They're trying to conceal and hide. Literally, yathnuna can be translated as they fold up their breasts. So they have layers and layers of hidden animosity and enmity. The second part, which is that they are trying to, when they try to wrap and enshroud their clothing around them, that is referring to the fact that they wrap the garments over their head so that they cannot hear Quran al-Kareem. This is what Ibn Kathir Rahimahullah Ta'ala has mentioned. Alright. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It looks like we are back again. Unfortunately, the electricity went and we had to switch over to generator, and I hope it looks like we are back, inshallah. Maybe not. I cannot tell if you can hear. Seems it should be fine, inshallah. Okay, so A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Verse number 6. Wa ma min dabbatin fil ardi illa ala Allahi rizquha. That there is no creature in this earth except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken it upon himself. Allah ta'ala has decided to make it incumbent upon himself. Rizquha, its risk, its provision, its sustenance. And if you don't want to translate Allah as incumbent, then we just say that illa billahi rizquha. I mean, we translate the Allah in this way, that except that their risk lies with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa ya'lamu mustaqarraha. And there's no creature on earth except that Allah ta'ala knows its mustaqar, its residence, its dwelling place. Wa mustawda'aha. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows for each and every single creature on earth its place of storage, where it stores its goods. Right? Kullun fi kitabim mubin, and all of this is in a clear book. So this is something we did yesterday as well, that kitabim mubin can be a reference to Allah al-Mahfuz, can also be in reference to the permanence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge, that everything is known by Him. Verse number 7. هو الذي خلق السماوات والأرض. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He, Allah, is that being who created the samawat, the firmaments, wal arda, fi sittati ayyam, and something we've explained before, in 6 time intervals and 6 time periods. Wa kana arshuhu alal ma'i. Now this is interesting. And His arsh, the arsh of Allah ta'ala, alal ma'i, was on water. The arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was on water. In fact, we can say Wakana, while this creation took place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's arsh was on water. This is the first time that this has come. So what does this mean? First of all, the ulama have said that this is one of those places in Quran al-Kareem which we do not take it to be literal. It doesn't mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's arsh was physically upon the water. Right? So Imam Fakhruddin al-Razi has also made this very clear, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's arsh was not physically upon the water. So what does it mean? Some take water as a source of life or the origin of life. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's arsh being on the water means that Allah ta'ala established his direction. I explained this before when we did istiwa al arsh, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala established his direction. The arsh is the vantage point, and istiwa is Allah ta'ala to establish his direction through that vantage point towards his creation. Al-ma'i, and so al-ma here denotes the essence, the origin, the kernel of life itself. So in other words, when Allah Ta'ala created, maybe you can understand this way, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala created the samawat and the ard. These are realms that are a type of zarf, are a type of container for life. And then Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala created these massive realms of the whole universe, one level of samawat, the heavenly realms, right, the angelic realms, and the ard, the planet Earth. All of this was the purpose for inhabiting and populating all of those realms with life. So al-ma'i here can be taken to represent life, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's entire focus of his vantage point and his direction towards that creation was the creation of the samawat and the ard, was for the purpose of establishing life therein. Okay. Next, لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ أَمَلًا, so that Allah Ta'ala may test you and thereby know and discover أَيُّكُمْ, which of you أَحْسَنُ أَمَلًا are the most excellent and beautiful in terms of actions and deeds. وَلَئِن قُلْتَ, and if you, Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, were to say, إِنَّكُمْ مَبْعُوثُونَ مِنْ بَعْدِ الْمَوْتِ, and if you were to tell them this truth, if you, Prophet ﷺ, were to say to them, the mushrikeen in Makkah Mukarramah, that indeed you, all of you, mab'uthun, you will all be resurrected min ba'dil maut, after you die, لَيَقُولَنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, certainly, definitely, those who disbelieve, they would reply back and say, in هَذَا إِلَّا سِحْرٌ مُبِينٌ, this is nothing other than, this is not else than clear and manifest sorcery. So we've done this before, and we saw these allegations against Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam before. Verses 9 to 11, Allah Ta'ala then is mentioning that, remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being who created all the samawat and the ard, is now going to describe this master creation of his insan, how they can become ungrateful and boastful when Allah Ta'ala sends their mercy upon them. Okay. وَلَئِنْ, and if أَذَكْنَا الْإِنسَانَ, we give a taste to humanity, minna, from us, what? Rahmatan, we give them a taste of mercy from us. ثُمَّ نَزَعْنَاهَا مِنْهُ, but then we withdraw that mercy from that individual. إِنَّهُ لَيَؤُوسٌ كَفُورٌ, then that individual will become ya'us, will become ma'yus, will become despair and despondency, kafurun, and will become extremely ungrateful. So imagine shakur is extremely grateful, kafurun is extremely ungrateful. وَلَئِنْ أَذَكْنَاهُ نَعْمَاءَ, and if we give them a taste of na'ma'a, of favor, بَعْدَ ضَرَّاءَ, after some hardship and adversity has befallen them, masatu, after some hardship and adversity touches them or has occurred to them or happened to them, لَيَقُولَنَّ, so they surely certainly such an individual would say what? ذَهَبَ السَّيِّئَاتُ عَنِّي, that yes, the evils have departed and have gone from me. إِنَّهُ لَفَرِحٌ فَخُورٌ, and such a person would be farih, he would be extremely joyful. Fakhurun, he would be boastful. So when the blessings Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends on people are taken away by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, naturally they despair. That part is a natural thing, but kafurun, they become ungrateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They become ungrateful for the blessings that they had and He took away, and they become ungrateful for the blessing that they still have and remain that He's not taken away. And in contrast to true believers, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا, so the sabr is related to that when Allah Ta'ala gives them a mercy from Him but then takes it away, they do sabr. They remain patient, they do steadfast. So the sabru is in contrast to those who become ma'yus and become ungrateful. So they have patience and they endure and they accept whatever decree comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the second thing that they do, وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, and they do virtuous deeds, they do more righteous actions. So this is a sign that Allah Ta'ala is giving us, teaching in Quran, very important general lesson from this ayah. Any time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes away blessings, number one, know that it was a mercy that He Himself had given us. Number two, know it is but a taste of that mercy compared to, inshallah, the everlasting mercy He will give us in Jannah. Number three, we should not let ourselves despair, but rather we should have sabr to counter that despair. We should have sabr, be patient and persevere, and have fortitude and be steadfast. Fourth, we should not be ungrateful for those blessings even after they're taken away. Fifth, we must remain grateful for them even after they've been taken away. Fifth, we should be grateful for the blessings that still remain. Sixth, the way we can express the fact that we're still shakur is to increase in our a'mal saleh, increase in our virtuous deeds and righteous actions. So somebody who does all of that, أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَأَجْرٌ كَبِيرٌ, and for all such people, to them will be given pure, absolute, total forgiveness and a tremendous reward. So that could be this, I forgot the number, sixth or seventh thing we should remember. When the blessings go away, it is a means. So remember this Surah Hud, Surah 11, verses 9 to 11, that when the blessings are taken away, if we respond properly, in place of the blessing that was taken away, we can get the maghfirah from Allah Ta'ala, and we can get ajrun kabir. So in fact, then, if you will, a greater blessing has been given by the taking away of the worldly blessing, has opened up the path to the divine blessing of maghfirah, Allah Ta'ala's forgiveness, and then the blessing of the hereafter, wa ajrun kabir. Verse 12, Allah Ta'ala is mentioning that Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is himself bound by the revelation, is bound by the revelation. What does this mean? So what happened was, let me give you the historical context first. The mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah, another thing they would do, in addition to accusing Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam of being a manifest sorcerer, they would tell Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he should change the verses of Revelation according to what they want, right? He should alter the Quran al-Kareem in a way that they want. And especially, obviously, the thing that disturbed them the most about Quran al-Kareem was Tawheed, and they wanted, okay, in your Quran you can talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no problem, but you should also acknowledge our gods. You should all acknowledge the secondary class of deities. Now obviously, Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would never, ever, ever consider doing it, right? He would never, ever consider doing it. But Allah Ta'ala wants to make it clear for the mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah and for all of humanity that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam is completely bound by the revelation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent. Okay, I think it's all fine still there, inshallah. Oh boy. Okay. I'm just gonna, inshallah, continue, hoping you can still hear. So in verse number 12, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, so again, this is not in any way a suggestion that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam could ever do such a thing. فَلَعَلَّكَ تَارِكٌ بَعْضَ مَا يُوحَى إِلَيْكَ. And this is one of the verses, first verse, why Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam's hair would have gone grey, right? فَلَعَلَّكَ, perchance, might it be, maybe you, tarikun, you may leave. You may omit, you may give up. بَعْضَ مَا يُوحَى إِلَيْكَ, part of that which has been revealed to you. وَضَائِكٌ بِهِ صَدْرُكَ, and then your sadr, your breast, would be constrained by it. By what? أَن يَقُولُوا لَوْلَا أُنزِلَ عَلَيْهِ كَنْزٌ أَوْ جَاءَ مَعَهُ مَلَكٌ. But maybe your breast is constrained by the fact that the idol worshippers are saying that لَوْلَا أُنزِلَ عَلَيْهِ كَنْزٌ, that why is it that no treasure has been revealed upon him? أَوْ جَاءَ مَعَهُ مَلَكٌ, or why is it that there's no angel that has come along with him? إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ النَّذِيرٌ. So Allah Ta'ala is reminding that you, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, anta nadhirun, you're just a warner. Wallahu ala kulli shay'in wakil, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the guardian over all things. So it's not that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam in any way could have ever left or changed anything that had been revealed to him. But this is a way that Allah Ta'ala actually is, in one sense, yes, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam's hair went grey because of this, and in another sense, Allah Ta'ala is consoling or showing Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he knows how deeply their taunts and their lies are affecting him. That they say that you are a sorcerer, that they say that why didn't any treasure come down with you, that why didn't any angel come along with you. Alright? Am yakulun aftarahu. So, or is it that these idol worshippers are saying that he has fabricated it? In other words, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam has simply fabricated it. So qul, then proclaim to them, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, fa'tu bi ashri suwarin mithlihi. So fine, then bring 10 surahs like it. Bring 10 surahs like it. Muftarayatin. Bring 10 surahs like it, muftariyat, that are fabricated, because you will make them, so it's not divine revelation. So if it's a fabrication, then you also fabricate. Bring 10 fabrications like this fabrication, if you claim it as a fabrication. Wad'u man istatatum min dunillahi in kuntum sadiqin. And you make dua, you call upon for assistance in this, to make 10 surahs like this, whoever you are capable of calling upon, apart from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if indeed you are true. If indeed you are truthful. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَجِيبُوا لَكُمْ. And if they do not, Allah Ta'ala is addressing Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if they do not answer you, فَأْلَمُوا, then all of you should know, أَنَّمَا أُنزِلَ بِإِلْمِ اللَّهِ, that indeed it has been sent down, in the Quran Kareem has been revealed and sent down, بِإِلْمِ اللَّهِ, with the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with Allah Ta'ala's knowledge, وَأَن لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُ, and that there is no deity, no God except for Him, Allah. فَهَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. And so will you then be those who submit? Will you then be Muslimun, those who submit and surrender entirely to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So the notion of the challenge here is that if one man can fabricate it, then all of you gather with all of your idols and false gods and you fabricate 10 such surahs, if it is indeed a fabrication. But because it's not, it has been revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they should realize that, then they should do taslim, they should submit and surrender and believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 15 to 16, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about those who desire the life of this world. Man kana yuridul hayat dunya wa zinataha, whomsoever desires the life of this world, wa zinataha. Wa zinataha means and its adornment and its beauty. And its adornment and its beauty. Nuwaffi ilayhim a'maluhum fiha. And Allah says, okay, then we will reward them and pay them in full and give them the full recompense for all their deeds fiha, in this world. وَهُمْ fiha la yubkhasun, and they will, in this world, they will not be deprived. So this is a very important ayah for us to understand, that if there's someone who's an atheist, who doesn't believe in the hereafter, but they do a lot of good things, right? People say, oh, they're a good person, they have good acts, they do good deeds. So yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Nuwaffi ilayhim a'maluhum, that we will give them the full payment, full recompense for all their deeds fiha, in this world. And they will not in any way be deprived from that full reward in this world. So therefore, if a person asks a question that, no, they're a good person, won't they get Jannah? Well, why would they get Jannah if they didn't do those good things for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? They did those good things for the sake of the world, or for the sake of being considered good in the world, or for the sake of their philosophy of what constituted goodness and virtue in this world. So everything about their good pertains to their world. Therefore, Allah Ta'ala will reward them for that good in this world. This is all Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. So also remember this, Surah Hud, Surah 11, verse 15. Right? And it's also the notion of irada, that they deeply desire the life of this world, and it's also about the zinat, those who want the beauty of this world. Ulaika alladhina laysa lahum fil akhirah. That those are the people who will have nothing in the hereafter, illa nar, except for the fire of Jahannam. Wa habita ma sana'u fiha, and every single thing that they used to do, they wrought fiha, in the life of the world, wa habita, will come to naught. وَبَاطِلٌ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ, and in fact, in vain was all that they used to do. Vain in the sense that, so the teaching Allah is giving us here, that if you do something and it only benefits you in this world, it's a kind of batil. It's a kind of null and void. It's vain. It's gone in vain. It has no benefit. It has no real meaning to it. Alright? So we should always try that all of our amal should be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they should be actions. We should try to increase those actions of ours that will give us some benefit in the akhirah, in the world to come. Verses 21 to 22, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will use several times in these two verses this word which means loss. Right? Wal asri innal insana lafi khusr. Khusr, khusran, complete loss. Utter and abject and entire loss. Allah Ta'ala mentions Ulaika alladhina, this is continuing from the earlier verses. I skipped some verses in the middle, but it's the verses of those who disbelieve, who do wrong, who try to bar people from the path of Allah Ta'ala, who try to make the path of Allah Ta'ala crooked. So then finally, concluding this passage, Allah Ta'ala says, Ulaika alladhina khasiru anfusahum, that these are those people who have lost their own souls. وَذَلَّ عَنْهُمْ مَا كَانُوا يَفْتَرُونَ, and all that they used to fabricate is also lost to them, has also forsaken them. La jarama annahum fil akhirati humul akhsarun, and there is no doubt that in the akhirah they will be from the akhsarun, from the greatest of losers. May Allah Ta'ala protect us from every khusr. May Allah Ta'ala enable us to value our iman. May Allah Ta'ala enable us to value our time. Verse 23, then Allah Ta'ala immediately after mentions who are the inhabitants of paradise, and this is an important verse because it mentions certain attributes. Inna ladhina amanu, indeed those who have iman, wa amalu salihat, and do righteous deeds and virtuous actions, wa akhbatu ila rabbihim. So this is the important extra thing here. Wa akhbatu ila rabbihim, and they're humbled towards their Rabb. They humble themselves before their Rabb. Ulaika ashabul Jannah, that these are the companions and inhabitants of Jannah, hum fiha khalidun, and they will dwell and reside therein forever. So this aspect of being humble in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a necessary attribute. Second, it's coming in this tertib in order because sometimes a person who has iman and does a lot of a'mal saleh, they lose their humility, they get a religious vanity, a religious conceit, al-ujub fi din, right? And they start thinking themselves of something and because of their a'mal saleh and their iman. So rather they must humble themselves towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, humble themselves in front of Allah ta'ala. When they do that third aspect, then they will get Jannah. Another way you can think is people talk about iman, a'mal and ikhlas. Sometimes people talk about ilm, amal and ikhlas. Here's iman, a'mal, and this refers to ikhlas. That they will only be sincere in those deeds if they maintain their humility and retain their humility and humble themselves towards Allah Ta'ala even after being well accomplished in righteous acts and virtuous deeds. Now, as we mentioned, from verses 25 onward, there's a long series in which Allah Ta'ala is going to recount the narratives of the different Anbiya, alayhim as-salam ajmain. We're doing selection in this series, so we're going to select certain verses that are most relevant to us. And the way I've structured this presentation for today is that for each prophet, I will try to, alayhim as-salam ajmain, try to select their messages, second, then their community, and then third, Allah Almighty's command, which is of some type of punishment that will seize them. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا نُوحًا إِلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ. Allah says, indeed, we sent Nuh alayhi salam to his people. إِنِّي لَكُمْ نَذِيرٌ مُبِينٌ. And this was his statement. So again, the statement is embedded here, just like we saw in the very start of the surah, right? إِنِّي لَكُمْ نَذِيرٌ مُبِينٌ. That who Nuh alayhi salam is saying to his people, indeed, I am a warner, clear warner to you. About what? أَن لَا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا اللَّهِ. That do not worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inni akhafu alaykum adhab yawmin alim. Indeed, I fear for you, if you continue to worship other than Allah ta'ala, indeed I fear for you a punishment on a day that is painful. So here actually, alimun has been mentioned as the sifat or the attribute of yawm. It's not the punishment that is painful. Of course, punishment is painful, but Allah is describing it here as the Yawm alim, as the day which is painful. Because for some people who come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in such a state that He is so angry with them that the entire day will be painful. The entire day will be painful. Now let's go back and see. Right? This is Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam. Let's just go back very quickly and look at the start. What was it that Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said? Allah ta'budu illallah. Innani lakum minhu nadhirun wa bashir. So the extra thing is bashir. And remember, because the people of Nuh alayhi salam was a community that was not believing. So there was nobody to give glad tidings to except very few. And the word warner is repeated. And then what was the fear here? فَإِنِّي أَخَافُ عَلَيْكُمْ أَذَابَ يَوْمٍ كَبِيرٍ. That indeed I, Prophet ﷺ, fear for you a punishment on a day that is a great day. Right? So you're going to see such things in the language, and this should be something that you can inshallah enjoy and do tilawah of Surah Hud afterwards and enjoy the symmetry and the repetition in language, but then also the changes. So here's Yawmin Alim as opposed to Yawmin Kabir. Okay? Verse 29. Then another thing that Nuh alayhi salam and all the messengers are going to tell their people is that we don't ask for you anything. وَيَا قَوْمِ. And Nuh alayhi salam is addressing, and O my people, La as'alukum alayhi malan in ajriya illa Allah. That I do not ask you for this delivery of this message any malan, any wealth, compensation, salary, financial reward. No. In ajriya illa Allah. That no, indeed my reward is only and only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My reward is from none other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا أَنَا بِطَارِدِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. And I shall not drive away those who believe. إِنَّهُمْ مَلَاقُو رَبِّهِمْ. Indeed they are truly will they shall meet their Rabb. وَلَكِنِّي أَرَاكُمْ قَوْمًا تَجْهَلُونَ. However, I see that you all are a people, tajhalun, who have chosen to adopt ignorance. So again, this is the discussion, this is the message, and then it moves to the discussion between Nuh alayhi salam and his community. So that continues in verses 35 to 36. Am yakulun aftarahu. Or is it that they say, remember we did this before, or is it that they say that you fabricated it? So again, I want you to think and imagine Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam receiving these revelations. He would be thinking, oh, it's exactly this Nuh alayhi salam, this prophet that I've learned about now, he said exactly the same thing to his people that I said to mine. Oh, they accused him of fabricating, they accused him of exactly the same thing that my community accused me of. He was afraid for them that they would have azab of Yawmin Alim. I was afraid for my community that they would have azab of Yawmin Kabir. I had the same fear for my community. So Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam comes to great comfort, great solace, and his heart will become very firm and steadfast and strong after receiving these revelations from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about the narratives of the previous Anbiya alayhim as-salam ajmain. Okay, so going back to this, Am yakuluna, or do they say iftarahu, that he, in this case he means Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam has fabricated. Kul, so proclaim to them, Nuh alayhi salam, in iftaraytuhu, if I had fabricated it, fa alayya ijrami, that fine, upon me is my crime. Wa ana bari'um mimma tujrimun, but I'm still absolved and I'm free from all the crimes and wrongdoing that you all do. Wa uhiya ila nuhin. So finally it was revealed to Nuh alayhi salam. Now watch this. Annahu lan yu'mina min qawmika illa man kad amana. That no one further will have iman, will adopt iman, will accept iman min qawmika, from your people, illa man kad amana, except for those who have already believed. So imagine Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he learns these stories, or that Nuh alayhi salam did dawah for 950 years, or there came a point where no additional person was accepting iman, whereas at least alhamdulillah with Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the early Meccan period, I cannot say that every day somebody was accepting iman, but alhamdulillah, even in the early Meccan period, people were gradually, continually accepting iman, entering the religion of Islam. But also Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam may also have gotten worried when he heard these narratives, that what happens if in my community, in other words my Ahl Makkah, Ahl Quraysh, however you want to define it, there comes a day when nobody new or nobody further accepts iman. So here, فَلَا تَبْتَئِسْ بِمَا كَانُوا يَفْعَلُونَ. So do not be la tabta'is, again from this is Bab Iftial, what we saw being Ma'us Ya'isu. So do not adopt distress, bima kanu yaf'alun, due to all those things that they used to do. Do not let that be a means of distress. Okay, then verse 37, verses 37 and 40 to 41, the famous incident of Nuh alayhi salam building the boat, or what for some reason which I don't know, in biblical illness they like to call it the Ark of Noah. So Allah Ta'ala commanded him, wasnal fulka, and we saw this before in plural, fuluk in Quran as your ships when they sail the oceans. So Allah Ta'ala commanded Nabi Nuh alayhi salam to manufacture a boat, bi'ayunina wa wahyina, and to manufacture and build this boat. In what sense? Literally, bi'ayunina means in front of Allah Ta'ala's eyes, But obviously Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a being, doesn't have eyes, so it means, with under our observation, وَوَحْيَنَا, and by our revelation. Okay? وَلَا تُخَاطِبْنِي فِي الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا إِنَّهُمْ مُغْرَقُونَ. Allahu Akbar Kabira. This is also would have made Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's hairs grey. Should make ours hair grey as well. وَلَا تُخَاطِبْنِي. And Allah Ta'ala says, Nuh alayhi salam, and do not address me. Do not even talk to me. Concerning alladhina zalamu, those who have done wrong. Why? Innahum, surely, definitely, all of them, mughraqun, shall be drowned. Hatta idha jaa. Okay, now we're going to skip a couple of verses because in 38 and 39, it's mentioned that people were making fun of Nuh alayhi salam when he was building the boat. Okay, now comes verses 40 to 41. Hatta idha jaa amruna, until our command came, right? And when Allah Ta'ala's command came, it is the time then to get in the boat, all right? Wafarat tanur. So this what they call tandoor in India and Pakistan is actually tannoor, but if you somehow they change it to a D, tannoor, right? Maybe our Gujarati friends can explain this one. Wafadan tannoor. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala literally is saying, remember Fara, to go forth, answer the call of Allah Ta'ala's messenger to go forth. So that was in Far. Wafadan tannoor is the gusht. The oven gushed. The oven gushed. So what is the oven here? The oven here means, if you will, the earth gushed forth. So the earth is the oven of water. Okay? So the flood is going to come from inside the earth. Now scientifically you understand that there's massive amounts of water, right? Underground. That's why people dig wells, right? So that is the oven, all right? So the oven gushed forth. It means the earth burst with its water in it. Kul nahmil fiha min kullin zawjain. And then kulna, Allah Ta'ala saying that we told Nuh alayhi salam that you should ride and mount fiha in that boat. What? Min kulli zawjain ithnain. That you should take 2 pairs of every creature, right? 2 pairs of every kind. So this is how all the species of animals will also survive this flood. Wa ahlaka. Now this is a key word, very important word. Wa ahlaka, and Allah Ta'ala tells Nuh alayhi salam, and you should take your ahl, your family, right? Illa man sabaka alayhi al-qawl, except for that one from your ahl, from your family, upon whom has preceded the qawl. And it was the decree and the decision has already passed regarding that person. Okay? Next, who should be taken? وَمَنْ آمَنَ, and all of those who have iman. وَمَا آمَنَ مَعَهُ إِلَّا قَلِيلٌ, but very few accepted iman along with you, iman in Allah Ta'ala along with you, Nuh alayhi salam, along with him, Nuh alayhi salam, illa qalil, except very few. So Rasulullah is listening to this. All this is being revealed to him. وَقَالَ ارْكُبُوا فِيهَا بِسْمِ اللَّهِ مَجْرَيْهَا, that you should embark upon it, and you should take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the name of Allah Ta'ala, may it be its traveling through the water, coursing through the flood, وَمُرْسَاهَا, and its docking, mooring, right? Inna Rabbi laghafurur rahim, indeed my Rabb is all forgiving, all merciful. Indeed my Rabb is all forgiving, all merciful. Alright, so Nuh alayhi salam, 1 male and female from all the animal species, and all his family except for 1, and all of the believers get on that boat. Alright. Then what happens? وَهِيَ تَجْرِي بِهِمْ فِي مَوْجٍ, and then that boat kept carrying on. can't really say sailing because we don't know if it's a sailboat, but it kept carrying on. Fi mawj, along the waves that kept coming upon them, kal jibali, like mountains. So this is the extent of the flood. So actually what it means is that even the floating, I wouldn't say sailing, but the coursing, the proceeding of the boat is itself a miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the boat was in a flood, the like of which had waves which were like mountains, means any ordinary boat would have completely drowned. وَنَادَى نُوحٌ ابْنُهُ, and Nuh alayhi salam, he called his son. He called out to his son. وَكَانَ فِي مَعْزِلٍ, and his son remained apart, right? Like the Mu'tazila, right? He remained apart. Ya bunayya, O my sweet son, irkab ma'ana, that you should also, get on the boat with us. You should also get on the boat with us. وَلَا تَكُمْ مَعَ الْكَافِرِينَ, and do not be amongst the disbelievers. Do not be amongst the disbelievers. قَالَ, so the son said, he replies, سَآوِي إِلَى جَبَلٍ, so no, what I will do is that I will take myself up to a mountain. يَأْسِمُنِي مِنَ الْمَاءِ, and that mountain, and as being in the height of that mountain, will protect me from the water of the flood. قَالَ لَا عَاصِمَ الْيَوْمَ مِنْ أَمْرِ اللَّهِ, the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam responded that there is nothing, La asima, there is no protector, nothing that can protect. Al-yawma, on this day, min amrillahi, from the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, illa man rahima, except for he upon whom Allah ta'ala has mercy on them. Wahala bainahum al-mawj, and then a huge wave, right, like the size of a mountain, came between the two of them. Fakana min al-mughraqin, and then his son of Blessed Nuh alayhi salam, became from those who drowned. So in other words, Allah Ta'ala caused the son of Nuh alayhi salam to drown in front of his very eyes. Okay, and then what happened? Wakila, and then it was said, Ya ardu, that it was said to the earth, O earth, Ibla'i ma'ak, that you should swallow your water, so retract it all. Wa ya sama'u, and then it was said to the sky also, Aqli'i, that you should also withhold. So we understand from this that not only was there flood water from the earth and waves the size of mountains, but then Allah Ta'ala accompanied that with a torrential downpour from the sky. Can you imagine? وَغِيذَ الْمَاءُ, and the water then subsided, right, and was made to recede. وَقُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ, and the command of Allah Ta'ala was fulfilled. وَاسْتَوَتْ عَلَى الْجُودِيِّ, and then the boat, wastawat is the fa'il and the fa'il is the boat. The boat docked, or you can say it landed, it moored, al-Judi. So al-Judi is a name of a mountain, right? A hill. You can say Mount Judi. Wakila bu'dan lil qawmi dhalimin, and it was also said, a caller called out, bu'dan, or maybe it was just declared by Allah Ta'ala, bu'dan lil qawmi dhalimin, and away, and let them be far, far away with the people who were wrongdoers. Means they're all gone now after the flood and the water recedes. Alright. Now, Allahu Akbar Kabira. Verses 45 to 47. Very intense passage of Quran al-Kareem. Nabi Nuh alayhi salam is going to talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's after, right? This has happened because Nabi Nuh alayhi salam knows that Allah can work a miracle. That even if in front of his eyes it may have appeared that his son is drowned, but Allah Ta'ala is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Okay? So, وَنَادَ نُوحٌ رَبَّهُ, and Nuh, blessed Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, he called out to his Rabb. فَقَال, and he said, Rabbi, inna ibni min ahli, that, O my Rabb, truly my son is from my ahl. Remember, I said there's a key word that Allah Ta'ala said earlier, that you should take your ahl onto the boat. But remember also Allah Ta'ala said, except that one against whom the matter has already been decided and decreed. Khair, wa inna wa'daka al-haqqu. And indeed, your promise is always true. Your promise is always true. Wa anta ahkamul hakimin. And you are the most just of the just. You are the most wise of the wise. Either way you can take this. You're the most just of the just. You are the most wise of the wise. Or qala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replied, Allahu Akbar kabira, Ya Nuh, that O Nuh alayhi salam, innahu laysa min ahlika. Indeed, he, your son, is not from your ahl, is not from your family. Innahu amalun ghayru salih. Indeed, he, his action was not salih. Was not salih. His action, his behavior, his conduct was not righteous. Was not righteous. So the first aspect is obviously his unrighteous conduct was that he disbelieved in Allah Ta'ala. Second, his unrighteous conduct was when the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam asked him to get in the boat and not be from the disbelievers. So the suggestion was that entering the boat would be like accepting Iman, and he chose not to, and he climbed the mountain. So this action of his was ghair salih, and further reaffirmed his disbelief. Then Allah Ta'ala says, فَلَا تَسْأَلْنِي مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ إِلْمٍ. And don't you dare ask me regarding that which you have no knowledge whatsoever. إِنِّي أَعِذُكَ أَن تَكُونَ مِنَ الْجَاهِلِينَ. I advise you thus, Nuh, so that you do not become, lest you become from those who are ignorant. Allahu Akbar kabira. فَلَا تَسْأَلْنِي مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ إِلْمٍ إِنِّي أَعِذُكَ أَن تَكُونَ مِنَ الْجَاهِلِينَ. So this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addressed Nabi Nuh alayhi salam. Qala, immediately Nabi Nuh alayhi salam replied, Rabbi inni a'udhu bika an as'alaka ma laysa li bihi ilm. That, oh my Rabb, I seek refuge in you, that I ever ask you regarding that which I have no knowledge whatsoever. Wa illa taghfir li. And Allah Ta'ala, if you wallah taghfir li, Allah Ta'ala, if you do not forgive me. Wa illa taghfir li, and if you do, until and unless and except if you forgive me, wa tarhamni, and you have mercy on me, akum min al khasirin, I'll be amongst the losers. Remember earlier came in the verse about the losers, the akhsarin, the ones that most lost. So Sayyidina Nuh Sam knows what that means, khasirin, and he's worried that if Allah Ta'ala doesn't forgive him for asking that question, and Allah doesn't have His mercy on him, then he will lose everything. Allahu Akbar kabira. Imagine Rasulullah's hairs must have gone white. So what if I asked Allah Ta'ala something and I end up in the khasirin? The way Allah Ta'ala, there's no answer that's given by Allah Ta'ala to this sentence. But what you do see in the very next verse 48, which is also the conclusion of the narrative of Nuh alayhi salam in the Surah Hud, Kila ya Nuh, that it was said to Nuh alayhi salam, Ya Nuh bit bisalamin minna, that okay, you should disembark from the boat, bisalamin minna, with peace from us, wa barakatin alayk, and barakat, blessings upon you, wa ala ummim mimman ma'ak, and on all those ummahs with you, because Nuh alayhi salam took one, from people from every, it's understood historically, from every race or creed or ethnicity or language, whatever you want to call, every aspect of humanity was saved on that boat, right? Wa umaman sanumatti'uhum thumma yamussuhum minna adhabun alim. And then to others, wa umamun, there are other types of nations, who will be the nations of disbelievers. Allah Ta'ala says, we will grant them enjoyment and pleasure in this life. ثُمَّ يَمَسُّهُمْ مِنَّا عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. But then thereafter, what will afflict them, literally touch them, what will befall them from our behalf will be a punishment that is painful. A punishment that is painful. And so what we understand here is, if you will, the second advent of humanity after the flood of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam. Again, there will be people who are believers, and there will be other peoples, communities, ummahs who will be disbelievers. Tilka min abna'il ghaybi. Tilka min amba'il ghaybi. That all of this is from the narratives of the unseen. Right? All this is from the narrative accounts of the unseen. Nuhiha ilayka. That we, Allah Ta'ala is saying, and I, Allah Ta'ala, all my might and majesty and knowledge, revealing them, ilayka, unto you, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ma kunta ta'lamuha, and you did not know about them at all. Anta, neither did you, wala qawmuka, nor did your people know about them at all, min qabl, from before. Hada fasbir, so be patient. Min qabl hada, that you and your people did not know about these narrative accounts of the earlier prophets before. Fasbir, so you should be patient and steadfast. Look at the other prophets, 950 years, Nuh alayhi salam. Innal aqibata lil muttaqin. Indeed, the true victorious outcome and end belongs only and only to the people of taqwa. So here, Allah Ta'ala in the beginning at 49, after the narration of the first prophet, and after narrating all the prophets a little bit later in the surah at 120, Allah Ta'ala makes it clear that the purpose of revealing all these narrations was for the sake of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the next Nabi, verses 50 onward, is going to be Nabi Hud alayhi salam, about whom, after whom the surah is named. But you should know that Sayyidina Hud alayhi salam's story is in 4 other places in Quran Kareem beyond Surah Hud. Just like you've seen so far, we haven't done Surah Nuh yet, but Surah Nuh alayhi salam's story is also not just in the surah named after him, but comes elsewhere, as you just saw. Okay? Well, and I told you in the long series of tafsir, I remember, Allahu Akbar, but I remember that many years ago when we taught tafsir, we had a long discussion about this. Why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala split up and scatter the aspects of the lives of the earlier prophets? So Surah Yusuf will be a big exception to that. That is all gathered together in a simple chronological historical narrative. Khair. So next is the story of Nabi Hud alayhi salam. So Ad was the people, akhahum, and to Ad was sent their brother Huda. Qala, and Hud alayhi salam said, Ya qawm ibudullaha ma lakum min ilahin ghayruhu. Same message of Tawheed. That, O my people, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have no God other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In antum illa muftarun. That you are nothing other than fabricators in your believing in gods besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya qawmi, that, O my people, la as'alukum alayhi ajram, that I do not ask of you any reward, any compensation for delivering this message. In ajriya illa ala alladhina in ajriya illa ala alladhi fatarani, that my reward lies only with that being who fatarani, who originally created me. Afala taqilun, if only you had sense. وَيَا قَوْمِ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ ثُمَّ تُوبُوا إِلَيْهِ. The same things that we saw, that, O my people, seek forgiveness from your Rabb and turn in repentance towards Him. But now we see one extra thing. What will happen if you do that? يُرْسِلِ السَّمَاءَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِدْرَارًا. That Allah Ta'ala will send upon you, literally means the sky, but it means Allah Ta'ala will send abundant rains upon you from the sky. وَيَزِدْكُمْ قُوَّةً إِلَى قُوَّتِكُمْ. And Allah Ta'ala will increase you and add strength to your strength. He will increase you quwwatan, in strength, ila quwwatikum, adding further to the strength that you already have. وَلَا تَتَوَلَّوْا مُجْرِمِينَ. And do not turn away now from this, otherwise you will be mujrimeen, you will be guilty criminals. So, first seeking forgiveness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then repenting, and then we had mentioned, we hadn't mentioned this yet, that the people of Ad also were affected by drought. So Allah Ta'ala was guiding Hud to tell them that Allah Ta'ala will also send rain. So what we generally, the general lesson from this verse is that when you seek Allah Ta'ala's forgiveness and you make tawbah, In addition to Allah Ta'ala forgiving us for our sins and sending His mercy on us, He will also help us if we are in some worldly difficulty, such as drought. So in the same way Allah Ta'ala can send torrential rains from the sky on the people who are experiencing drought when they make istighfar and tawbah. Similarly, if we make istighfar and tawbah for our sins when we are in a very tough and difficult situation, Allah Ta'ala can send the torrential downpour of His mercy and blessings and help and madad and nusra to help us out of that situation, just like Allah Ta'ala is promising here to help them out of drought if they make istighfar and tawbah. Then so we're skipping a few verses, and then verses 56 to 57. So the second thing, so first thing is the message of Hud alayhi salam. Second is the blessed Prophet Hud alayhi salam and his community. Inni tawakkaltu ala Allahi rabbi wa rabbikum. So Hud alayhi salam tells his people that indeed I, Hud alayhi salam, entirely trust and depend only on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is my Rabb and your Rabb. Ma min dabatin illa huwa akhidun binasiyatiha. That there is no creature that walks the face of this earth, there is no creature that walks the face of this earth except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala akhidun, He controls it and He can grab it and He holds it binasiyatiha, by its forelock. So it's an expression in Arabic that He has absolute power and control over it. Absolute power and control over it. Inna Rabbi ala siratim mustaqim. That indeed my Rabb is on siratim mustaqim. Allahu Akbar. Indeed my Rabb is on siratim mustaqim. So what does it mean? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the truth. Al-Haq, He guides towards the truth. Al-Haq, He has sent scriptures and messengers upon the truth, with the truth. Al-Haq. And so all of that is siratim mustaqim. فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا, same pattern, but if you turn away after this message, فَقَدْ أَبْلَغْتُكُمْ مَا أُرْسِلْتُ بِهِ إِلَيْكُمْ, then I have delivered and communicated that with which I have been sent to you. وَيَسْتَخْلِفُ رَبِّي قَوْمًا غَيْرَكُمْ, and my Rabb will then follow you, will have you succeeded by a qawman, another people, another community other than you. وَلَا تَذُرُّونَهُ شَيْئًا, and you, all of you together combined, cannot harm him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, shay'an, in the slightest. Inna Rabbi ala kulli shay'in hafiz. Indeed, my Rabb is absolutely the guardian and preserver of each and every single thing. Okay, now comes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Almighty's command. وَلَمَّا جَاءَ أَمْرُنَا, and then Allah ta'ala says, and then when our command came, نَجَّيْنَا هُودًا, we saved Hud alayhi salam, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ, and those who believed with him, بِرَحْمَةٍ مِنَّا, by means of a mercy from us, وَنَجَّيْنَاهُمْ مِنْ عَذَابٍ غَلِيظٍ, and indeed we saved them and rescued them from a horrific punishment, a ghaliz punishment, a gravely, intensely serious punishment. Okay, next is Nabi Saleh alayhi salam. So verse 61, first again the same three things: the message of the Prophet and their community, and then the command of Allah Ta'ala comes. وَإِلَّا ثَمُودَ أَخَاهُمْ صَالِحًا, but the Saleh, right, it's just the Arab here. And to Thamud, to the people of Thamud, we sent their brother, means their fellow, Saleh. قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مَا لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَٰهٍ غَيْرُهُ. So he said that, oh my people, worship Allah Ta'ala, you have none other than Allah Ta'ala do you have, as an ilah, as a God. هُوَ أَنْشَأَكُم مِّنَ الْأَرْضِ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that being who has brought you forth from the earth. وَاسْتَعْمَرَكُمْ فِيهَا, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has then settled you in that very same earth. فَاسْتَغْفِرُوهُ ثُمَّ تُوبُوا إِلَيْهِ, you should seek His forgiveness and then repent to Him. إِنَّ رَبِّي قَرِيبٌ مُجِيبٌ, indeed my Rabb is ever near, and His mujib is responsive, and means His jawab is qareeb. He is qareeb, He is mujib, He always replies, and His jawab itself is qareeb. His reply will be near when you seek his forgiveness and make tawbah to him. Again, the story of Sayyidina Saleh alayhi salam will also come in 3-4 different surahs of Quran al-Kareem. Verse 63, Nabi Saleh alayhi salam's community, Qala Saleh alayhi salam, he said, Ya qawmi, ara'aytum in kunta ala bayyinatin min rabbi. That, O qawmi, don't you see that indeed I am on a bayyinah? I've come upon a clear proof min rabbi, from my Rabb. Wa atani minhu rahmatan, and has come to me a rahmah from my Rabb, that he has granted me a mercy from himself. فَمَنْ يَنْصُرُنِي مِنَ اللَّهِ. So then who can help me against Allah Ta'ala in asaytuhu, if I were to disobey him? So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, even I cannot disobey Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala. فَمَا تَزِيدُونَنِي غَيْرَ تَخْسِيرٍ. And so what would you, taziduna, would all of you try to increase me, غَيْرَ تَخْسِيرٍ, in something other than loss? So takhsir is the creation of khusr. Again, that word of absolute loss. Do you seek to increase me in something, in nothing other than absolute loss? So again, this is the notion that they were going to Saleh alayhi salam and also asking him to change something or to disobey Allah Ta'ala. So the very same thing like we've already seen with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So finally again, in 66, and then there's this issue in verses 64 to 65, which we skipped, about the she-camel, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told them this is a sign from Allah Ta'ala, do not go near it, but they still decided to hamstrung her. So then Allah Ta'ala sends his amr and promise on them. فَلَمَّا جَاءَ أَمْرُنَا. So then Allah Ta'ala says, and then when indeed our command came, نَجَّيْنَا صَالِحًا وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ بِرَحْمَةٍ مِنَّا, that we saved Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and all of those who had iman with him by means of a mercy from us. وَمِنْ خِزْيٍ يَوْمَئِذٍ وَمِنْ خِزْيٍ, by mercy from us. Okay. And وَمِنْ خِزْيٍ يَوْمَئِذٍ, and we saved them also from the disgrace of that day. So the disgrace of that day means from being punished on that day. Right? Inna rabbaka huwal qawiyyul aziz. Indeed, your Rabb is all powerful, almighty. Qawi, you can say all strong, almighty. Now, verse 69, Allah Ta'ala has a brief mention of Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam here, but different from other places where Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam has been mentioned in detail. وَلَقَدْ جَاءَتْ رُسُلَنَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ بِالْبُشْرَى. And Allah Ta'ala said that in our emissaries, which refers to these angels, they came to Ibrahim alayhi salam with what? Bil bushra, with glad tidings. With glad tidings. Okay, so this is the Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam also. The reason he's mentioned here, he was also preaching to a nation of idol worshippers, right? And we know that story already. So know that Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam had a nephew, Lut alayhi salam. So Nabi Lut alayhi salam is the nephew of Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam. Alright. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent 3 angels to the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Qalu salama, and they all said to him, salam, peace. Qala, Ibrahim alayhi salam said, salamun, he replied with peace. فَمَا لَبِثَ أَنْ جَاءَ بِإِجْلٍ حَنِيذٍ. That what is it? And he, yes, salam. فَمَا لَبِثَ أَنْ جَاءَ بِإِجْلٍ حَنِيذٍ. That he hastened to bring them a roasted calf. So ijl is calf, hanid roasted. So he hastened to do ikram of the guest, right? To bring food for the guest. فَلَمَّا رَأَى أَيْدِيَهُمْ لَا تَصِلُ إِلَيْهِ. And then when Ibrahim alayhi salam saw that they did not extend their hands towards the meat, only then did he realize, right, that they're angels. So because the angels don't eat, he realized. But actually, initially, he didn't realize they were angels. He just realized there was something different about them. And it comes in another narration, which we'll do in Surah Hijr, Surah 15, verse 52. Ibrahim alayhi salam actually became afraid of them, right? actually became afraid of them. So nakirahum. So when he saw that they did not extend their hands towards the food, nakirahum, he sort of conceived awareness of them. وَأَوْجَسَ مِنْهُمْ خِيفَةً. وَأَوْجَسَ مِنْهُمْ خِيفَةً. And at that point, he conceived of a fear of them. قَالُوا. So then all of them said, لَا تَخَفْ. That do not be afraid. إِنَّا أُرْسِلْنَا إِلَىٰ قَوْمِ لُوط. That we have been sent to the people of Lut. We have been sent to the people of Lut. Okay, now the wife of Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam was nearby. وَامْرَأَتُهُ قَائِمَةٌ. And his wife was standing, right, nearby, standing there. فَضَحِكَتْ. And she laughed. فَبَشَّرْنَاهَا بِإِسْحَاقَ وَمِنْ وَرَاءِ إِسْحَاقَ يَعْقُوبَ. So Allah says, and then we gave her glad tidings of Ishaq, and after Ishaq of Yaqub. In other words, that we gave glad tidings that they would have a son by the name of Ishaq, who himself would have a son by the name of Yaqub, okay, who you would know then will later have a son by the name of Yusuf. Alright. So, ulama of Tafsir tried to discuss what was she laughing about. One was that maybe she was laughing because she understood that they were angels, and she was laughing out of delight or happiness because she knew that the angels would have come with some type of glad tidings. Alright? Here. Qalat, but when they said this to her, that we give you glad tidings of Ishaq and Yaqub, so again they're being named. Qalat, so the wife of Ibrahim alayhi salam, she said, Ya waylata, oh woe to me, A'alidu wa ana ajuz. Will I, bear a child when I am an old woman? وَهَذَا بَعْلِي شَيْخًا. And this husband of mine is an old man. إِنَّ هَذَا لَشَيْءٌ أَجِيبٌ. Indeed, this is truly an astounding thing. قَالُوا. So the angels, they replied to her, أَتَعْجَبِينَ مِنْ أَمْرِ اللَّهِ. That are you astounded at the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu alaykum. That the mercy of Allah Ta'ala and His blessings are upon you. Ahlul Bayti. That on you, all of the people of this house. I mean, this is the Al Ibrahim, right? Innahu Hamidum Majid. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all praised and He is all Majid. He is all majestic. Alright. So this, by the way, wife is about Sarah radiyallahu ta'ala anha, and the mother of Ismail is Hajra, and the mother of Ishaq is Sarah, and both are equally respected and venerated in our deen, and we have love and respect and veneration for Ishaq alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam, the Bani Ishaq and the Bani Ismail. All right. فَلَمَّا ذَهَبَ أَنْ إِبْرَاهِيمَ الرَّوْعُ. So when they left Ibrahim alayhi salam, when the raw, which means when the awe left Ibrahim alayhi salam, so Ibrahim alayhi salam was kind of struck by their meeting him. So when you can say the fear and the awe left him, وَجَاءَتْهُ الْبُشْرَى, and then the good news and glad tidings came to him, that he was going to have a son. يُجَادِلُنَا فِي قَوْمِ لُوط. So literally, yujadiluna means that he disputed with Allah Ta'ala, and Allah is using the royal way here. So he, Ibrahim alayhi salam, disputed with us, did mujadala with us, with me, Allah Ta'ala, and all my might and knowledge, fi qawmi Lut, regarding the people of Lut. So what was that? This is referring to a dua that Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam makes, that may Allah Ta'ala not destroy the people of Lut. But Allah Ta'ala is describing this as if Ibrahim alayhi salam is doing mujadala, is trying to combat and engage Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then again, I can imagine that Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's hair would have grown grey and white at hearing this description. Inna Ibrahima lahalimun awahum munib. So now Allah Ta'ala Himself is offering an excuse for Ibrahim alayhi salam. Then why did Ibrahim alayhi salam make this dua that Allah Ta'ala preserved the Qawm of Lut? Is because Ibrahim alayhi salam was awahun. very forbearing, and Halimun, very forbearing, Awahun, that he was extremely tender-hearted, and Munibun, that his heart was always turning to Allah Ta'ala in inaba, in penitence. So actually Allah Ta'ala, why did Ibrahim a.s. make this dua? Because Ibrahim a.s. wanted his nephew Nabi Lut a.s. to succeed in his nubuwah, and so Allah Ta'ala wanted more time. Ibrahim a.s. wanted more time to be granted to Nabi Lut a.s. Second meaning, some ulama tafsir says that Nabi Ibrahim a.s. was worried that if Allah Ta'ala destroys the Qawm of Lut and Lut a.s. is with them, he's amongst them, then he may be destroyed as well, and he was worried about his nephew. Alright. Ya Ibrahimu, so Allah addresses Ibrahim alayhi salam, A'rid an hadha. It's much softer than when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addressed Nuh alayhi salam, but still, if we can imagine that we know Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam, even this would have made Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam's hair go grey or white. That Allah Ta'ala says, O Ibrahim, A'rid an hadha, that you should desist from this, right? Turn away from this dua and pleading on behalf of the people of Lut. Why? Innahu kad ja'a amru rabbik, that indeed the amr, the command of your Rabb has come. Wa innahum atihim adhabun ghayru mardud, and indeed coming upon them and coming to them is a punishment that cannot be averted, cannot be returned, right? Ghayru mardud, that there's no rad, it's impossible to do rad of that now. Okay, now verses 7, that's all the mention of Nabi Ibrahim Islam. And so now in verses 77 to 78, mention of Nabi Lut alayhi salam. Nabi Lut alayhi salam. So after leaving Ibrahim alayhi salam, the angels, they go to Nabi Lut alayhi salam. وَلَمَّا جَاءَتْ رُسُلُنَا, and when our emissaries came to Lut alayhi salam, سِيءَ بِهِمْ, and they came to news that he was distressed upon seeing them, وَذَاكَ بِهِمْ, and he felt himself cornered, right, straightened due to their presence, or you can say he felt distressed because of their presence, and his heart, his breast became tightened. وَذَاكَ بِهِمْ ذَرْعًا وَقَالَ هَذَا يَوْمٌ أَسِيبٌ, and he said that this is indeed a terrible day. وَجَاءَهُ قَوْمُهُ, and his community came to him. يُحْرَؤُونَ إِلَيْهِ, and they came hurrying towards him. وَمِنْ قَبْلُ, and just earlier, كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ السَّيِّئَاتِ, just earlier they had been committed evil deeds. So it means that they were involved in evil deeds, and they came running to him just after doing these evil deeds. So Lut alayhi salam, he said to his people, Lut alayhi salam, he said, Ya qawmi, that, O my people, ha'ulai banati hunna atharu lakum, that these my daughters, they are more pure for you. Fattakullaha, be wary and fear Allah Ta'ala. وَلَا تُخْزُونِي فِي ضَيْفِي, and do not disgrace me in my weakness. You can say, do not disgrace me in my weakness. You can say that do not disgrace me فِي ضَيْفِي, regarding my guests, these emissaries, these three angels who have come. أَلَيْسَ مِنْكُمْ رَجُلٌ رَشِيدٌ, is there not from you even a single rightly guided man? A single rightly guided man. So when Lut alayhi salam is saying that his daughters are more pure for them, what he's not saying, he's not offering his daughters to them. What he's saying, that his daughters refuse to engage in these haram activities, right? His daughters refuse to engage in these haram activities, and therefore they're more pure. They're more pure. Some have taken it, though, that he was literally saying that to these men that they should be inclined towards women, right? And he was giving as an example his daughters being the most pure of the women of that community so that they should be inclined to pure women. All right. But look at the response that they will give. Okay, I have not given this to you, but in verse 79, they respond and they say to Ajib. They respond and they say to Nabi Lut alayhi salam, قَالُوا لَقَدْ أَلِمْتَ مَا لَنَا فِي بَنَاتِكَ مِنْ حَقٍّ. That you know very well that it is not for us that we have any right concerning your daughters. But إِنَّكَ لَتَعْلَمُ مَا نُرِيدُ. And indeed you know what it is that we want. You know what it is that we want. Others have understood that daughters don't mean Nabi Lut alayhi salam's own physical, biological daughters, but he's referring to the mu'minat of his ummah, the women of his ummah. So one reason he also wanted that was that because if these men are not inclined to the mu'minat and they don't marry the mu'minat and they don't have children, then the ummah will cease to exist. But they replied that they have no desire for women, and you know what we want, which is that na'udhu billah, that what we want is men. Okay, so verse 81. Qalu, so the angels, they say to Lut alayhi salam, Ya Lutu, that O Lut, inna rusulu rabbika, that we are emissaries come to you from your Rabb, lan yasilu ilayka, that don't worry that these disbelievers of your community, they will not reach you, they can't harm you anyway. فَأَسْرِ بِأَهْلِكَ بِقِطْءٍ مِّنَ اللَّيْلِ. So you should set out with your ahl, again look at this word ahl, with your family, during some qit'im, during a sliver, during a part of the night. وَلَا يَلْتَفِتْ مِنْكُمْ أَحَدٌ. And let not any one of you turn around, even to go back or even to look back. إِلَّا امْرَأَتَكَ, except for your wife. إِنَّهُ مُصِيبُهَا مَا أَصَابَهُمْ. And surely it will befall her all that befalls them. Right? The same punishment. Inna maw'idahum as-subh. Indeed, the promised time for them, the appointed time for them, is going to be the morning. Alaysa subhu biqreeb, and is not the morning near. So then Nabi Lut alayhi salam is saved, but his wife is not saved. So Allahu Akbar, we saw in Ibrahim alayhi salam, father not saved. We saw Nuh alayhi salam, son not saved. We're seeing in Lut alayhi salam, wife not saved. But mashallah, look at the shan of the ummahat al-mu'mineen, each and every one of the mu'minat. How can anyone imagine to call as Islam any ideology that does not universally acknowledge the tremendous iman and yaqeen of each and every single one of the ummahat al-mu'mineen, including al-Mu'mineen Sayyida Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha. Verses 82 to 83, Allah Ta'ala's command. So we saw it in all the message and the community, and then the command. فَلَمَّا جَاءَ أَمْرُنَا, and when our command came, جَعَلْنَا عَلَيْهِ آلِيَهَا سَافِلَهَا. Allah Ta'ala says that we took their upper side and made it their downside. Means we took the whole community of Lut and lifted it up and flipped it on its side. Flipped it on its side and flipped it over. Allahu Akbar Kabira. This was the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Second, وَامْتَرْنَا عَلَيْهَا هِجَارَةً مِّن سِجِّيلٍ. And we pelted them and caused to rain down upon them stones made of sijil, made of blank clay, mandud, and we sent it on layers, one upon the other, like battalions of these stones rained down upon them. Musawwamatan inda rabbik, and thus they became marked from your Rabb. They became marked by your Rabb. So it comes in hadith that each and every stone impacted and marked a person or struck the person for whom it was intended. So Allah Ta'ala punished each and every one of them individually by specifically sending a stone or a torrent of stone, or a series of stones in layers one after the other to pelt a particular person. Al-aman al-hafiz al-majina min al-nar. وَمَا هِيَ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ بِبَعِيدٍ. And now Allah Ta'ala says a general thing, that this is not it. وَمَا هِيَ and it. So here it and punishment, right? Punishment. مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ بِبَعِيدٍ. It is not far from the wrongdoers. Okay, now we move to Nabi Shu'ayb alayhi salam. Nabi Shu'ayb alayhi salam. وَلَا Madian, and to Madian was sent Akhahum, their brother, Shu'ayban, Shu'ayb alayhi salam. قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مَا لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَٰهٍ غَيْرُهُ. Same message, that, oh my people, worship Allah Ta'ala, you have no God other than Him. وَلَا تَنْكُسُوا الْمِكْيَالِ. So now a special teaching is do not decrease, do not decrease in any way from the measurement, from the scale, from the measuring scale. وَالْمِيزَانِ, and from the weighing balance. إِنِّي أَرَاكُمْ بِخَيْرٍ. And truly I see you will be on khair if you do this. Another meaning is that I see you on khair, I see you on prosperity. So you're rich and you're still trying to shortchange people in the measuring scale and the weighing balance. وَإِنِّي أَخَافُ عَلَيْكُمْ عَذَابَ يَوْمٍ مُحِيطٍ. So the same sentence, and indeed I fear for you a punishment, but the change at the end, يَوْمٍ مُحِيطٍ. So we had Yawmin Kabir, Yawmin Alim, and Yawmin Muhit, a day that is all-encompassing, which will surround you. There will be no escape from that day. وَيَا قَوْمِ, and O my people, أَوْفُوا الْمِكْيَالَ وَالْمِيزَانَ, and you should observe fully the measuring scale and the weighing balance, بِالْقِسْطِ, with absolute justice. وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ, and you should not shortchange people. You should not shortchange the people in even the slightest. You should not deprive the people in the slightest ashya'ahum of their things, of that which is theirs. In other words, what they are buying from you, the goods they are buying from you, either in measure or through weight. وَلَا تَعْثَوْا فِي الْأَرْضِ مُفْسِدِينَ, and do not work and spread corruption on earth. بَقِيَةُ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ, and that which remains from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is better and best for you. In kuntum mu'mineen, if truly you are believers. وَمَا أَنَا عَلَيْكُمْ بِحَفِيظٍ, and I am not a guardian or a keeper over you. So the remainder that remains with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means that whatever money that remains, that is honest, once you leave this nooks, once you leave shortchanging people in the measuring scale and the weighing balance, what remains from Allah Ta'ala, that is best for you. Okay, and then verses 87 to 90 continues now. Shu'ayb alayhi salam and his community. Qalu, so they said, Ya Shu'ayb, O Shu'ayb, Asalatuka ta'muruka an natruka ma ya'budu aba'una. Does the fact that you pray, your salah, that you pray in a particular way, you pray to Allah Ta'ala, does your salah command you that we should leave what our forefathers worshipped? Or an naf'ala fi amwalina ma nasha'u, or that we should leave doing with our wealth as we pleased? Innaka la antal halimur rashid. Surely, indeed, you, Shu'ayb alayhi salam, are a person who is al-halimu, the forbearing one, and al-rashid, the one who is right-minded. Qala, so Shu'ayb alayhi salam replied to them, Ya qawmi, O my people, ara'aytum in kuntu ala bayyinatin min rabbi, that don't you think, haven't you considered that I stand firmly upon a bayyana, I am upon a bayyana, clear proof from my Rabb, warazaqani minhu rizqan hasanan, and my Rabb has provided me with a beautiful, excellent rizq, minhu, from his own self. وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَنْ أُخَالِفَكُمْ, and I don't want to go behind your backs. I don't want to differ with you. إِلَّا مَا أَنْهَاكُمْ, in those things in which I forbid you. So I don't intend to differ from you in that which I forbid you. In other words, I'm going to follow these commandments as myself, right? I'm also going to follow all these rules myself. In uridu illa al-islaha mastata'tu. All I want is to set matters right to the extent that I'm able. وَمَا تَوْفِيقِي إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. And I will have no success except with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. Alayhi tawakkaltu wa ilayhi unib. And upon Allah ta'ala alone do I trust, and to He alone do I turn. وَيَا قَوْمِ. And O my people, لَا يَجْرِمَنَّكُمْ شِقَاقِي. That do not let my shiqaq, my dissenting from you, or shiqaqi, your dissenting from me, an yusibakum mithlu ma asaba qawma Nuhin, or qawma Hudin, or qawma Saleh, wa ma qawma Lutin minkum biba'id. So apparently Shu'ayb alayhi salam knows about all the previous prophets, all the ones that were mentioned earlier. So now Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying another example of a prophet who mentioned the earlier prophets to his people, and obviously Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will do the same thing, especially to the mushrikeen. So do not let the fact that shikaki, that you have dissented with me, cause to befall on you ma, that same thing, asaba qawmi Nuh, that befell the people of Nuh alayhi salam, or the people of Hud alayhi salam, or the people of Saleh alayhi salam, and that which befell the people of Lut, that is not even biba'id, that is not far from you, and the people of Lut are not far from you. Allahu Akbar. وَاسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ ثُمَّ تُوبُوا إِلَيْهِ إِنَّ رَبِّي رَحِيمٌ وَدُودٌ. Same thing, that seek the forgiveness of your Rabb and then make tawbah and turn repentance to Him. And then Shu'ayb says, indeed my Rabb is Rahimun, all merciful, and Wadud. This is the first time I think this pair has come up, is all merciful, Wadudun, all loving. Yes, all loving. This is the message of Shu'ayb to his people. Qalu, but this is how the people reply. So the people replied how? Ya Shu'ayb, ma nafkahu kathiran mimma taqul. That, oh Shu'ayb, we don't have fiqh, we don't understand much of what it is that you say. Wa inna lanaraka fina dha'ifan. But we view you, we see you, and we consider you to be weak among us. وَلَوْ لَرَحْتُكَ لَرَجَمْنَاكَ. And if it was not for your rat, means if it was not for your clan, your family, we would have stoned you to death. Allahu Akbar. وَمَا أَنْتَ عَلَيْنَا بِعَزِيزٍ. And you would have had no power over us. So now, this is something Sayyidina Rasulullah is very similar to his case, because he was from the Quraysh, he was protected by his uncle Abu Talib. But now Nabi Kareem was probably realizing that these people of Makkah Mukarramah, the only thing stopping them is I'm from the Quraysh, from my uncle's protections, or Sayyidina Hamza, etc. But the hatred they have for me must be like this, that they would like to stone me to death the way that Shu'ayb alayhi's community would have wished to have just stoned him. So I think this may have also made his hair grey and white. He would have been shocked that this is actually what my community thinks about me. So Qala, verse 92, Shu'ayb alayhi salam responded, Ya qawmir arahti a'azzu alaykum min Allah. So Shu'ayb alayhi salam, he told, oh my people, is my clan have more izzat, is it more honorable in your eyes than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Do you honor it and deem it to be more mighty than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? وَاتَّخَذْتُمُوهُ وَرَاءَكُمْ. And you have then taken, and you would put Allah ta'ala behind you, Zihriyan, which means with disregard. You put Allah Ta'ala behind your backs with disregard. Inna Rabbi bima ta'maluna muhit. Indeed, my Rabb is all encompassing about every single thing that you do. Now comes Allah Ta'ala's command. وَلَمَّا جَاءَ أَمْرُنَا نَجَّيْنَا شُعَيْبًا وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ. And when Allah Ta'ala says, and when our Amr, our command came, we saved Shu'ayb alayhi salam and all those who believed with him, بِرَحْمَةٍ مِنَّا, by means of a mercy from us. وَأَخَذَتِ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا السَّيْحَةُ. And then the thunderous blast seized those who were الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا, who were those who were wrongdoers. Sayha literally means cry and blast. Here it's referring to the cry of thunder. فَأَصْبَحُوا فِي دِيَارِهِمْ جَاثِمِينَ. And the morning find them lying prone, dead, lifeless in their homes, in their abode. فِي دِيَارِهِمْ, in their homes. Alright. So others have said that this is just a cry, that it was some form of punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that just rendered them dead. Maybe it was just a cry that seized them such that they're lying lifeless in their homes, that it just shocked them into death. Maybe something like the similar or akin to the cry that will take place at the end of time. Okay, in verse 96, just because there's a mention of Musa Islam, I'm just mentioning this very quickly. So verse 95 was the end of verse 95 was supposed to be here, but verse 95 was the end. Verse 95 was not selected for this presentation. It's the end of the story of Nabi Shu'ayb alayhi salam. And Allah Ta'ala is saying that بَعْدًا لِمَدْيَنَ كَمَا بَعِدَتْ Thamud. And we far removed were the people of Madian, just as the people of Thamud were far removed. Means the punishment overwhelmed them and they were removed from the lands. The disbelievers from them were removed from the lands. Verse 96, just brief mention of Musa alayhi salam. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا مُوسَى بِآيَاتِنَا وَسُلْطَانٍ مُبِينٍ. And indeed we sent Musa alayhi salam with verses from our revelation and our signs. وَسُلْطَانٍ مُبِينٍ. And we gave him a tremendously clear authority. Okay, but there's just then 2-3 verses about Fir'aun afterwards. Verse 100 to 102, now after mentioning all these different narratives of different Anbiya alayhim assalam ajmain, Allah Ta'ala then wraps this up by telling Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam ذَلِكَ مِنْ أَنْبَاءِ الْقُرَى, that these are the news and informations and events and narratives of Al-Qura, different settlements, cities, towns, communities, civilizations, نُقُصُّهُ عَلَيْكَ, that we Allah Ta'ala narrate and relate to you, upon you, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, minha qa'imun wa hasid. And from amongst them there are those there are some that are qa'im, some of these communities remain, like the community of Musa alayhi salam, and wa hasid, and we did this before, some that have been mowed down and leveled out from the history of humanity. وَمَا ظَلَمْنَاهُمْ, and Allah Ta'ala saying, and we did not wrong them at all, وَلَكِنْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ, but rather they wronged themselves. They wronged themselves. فَمَا أَغْنَتْ عَنْهُمْ آلِهَتُهُمْ الَّتِي يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ, and it did not avail them at all their gods who they called upon apart from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, min shay'in, did not avail them anything. They did not help them in any way whatsoever. لَمَّا جَاءَ أَمْرُ رَبِّكَ, when the command of your Rabb came to them. وَمَا زَادُوهُمْ غَيْرَ تَتْبِيبٍ, and Allah says, and they and those false gods increased them in nothing except further ruin. وَكَذَلِكَ أَخْذُ رَبِّكَ, and thus is the seizing of the punishment of your Rabb. إِذَا أَخَذَ الْقُرَى, when Allah decides to seize with punishment the towns and the settlements and the cities and the communities. وَهِيَ ظَالِمَةٌ, when they are doing wrong. إِنَّ أَخْذَهُ أَلِيمٌ شَدِيدٌ, indeed the seizing of his punishment is extremely painful and extremely severe. Then verses 103 to 105, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likens this extreme seizing, sudden seizing with extreme punishment to the day of judgment, and mentions that these narratives of sudden seizing and extreme punishment is a sign. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَةً لِمَنْ خَافَ عَذَابَ الْآخِرَةِ, and indeed in all of these narratives and the manner of Allah Ta'ala's intense and painful punishment that seizes the people who are wrongdoers is an ayah, is a sign, لِمَنْ خَافَ عَذَابَ الْآخِرَةِ, for any and all such any person who fears the punishment of the hereafter. ذَلَكَ يَوْمٌ مَجْمُوءٌ لَهُ النَّاسِ, and that is a day on which all people will be gathered all together. وَذَلَكَ يَوْمٌ مَشْهُودٌ, and that is a day that shall be witnessed by all. وَمَا نُؤَخِّرُهُ إِلَّا لِأَجَلٍ مَعْدُودٍ, and Allah says, and that we delay it not, save for a appointed term. So the time of this world and the life of this world is already appointed, and that all of the lifespan of this world is viewed as but a delay in the coming of that day, the day of judgment. يَوْمَ يَأْتِي لا تكلم نفس إلا بإذنه. And on that day, it comes that there will be no takallum, there will be no speech, no soul, no self shall speak illa bi'idhni, except by the permission and leave of Allah, of Him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَمِنْهُمْ شَقِيٌّ وَسَعِيدٌ. And from all the souls there will be two types. Shaqiyun means the wretched, وَسَعِيد, and those who will be the happy, right? The wretched and the happy. Finally, then 112 to 113, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions now the commandments. After all these narratives, Allah ta'ala is going to mention His commandments to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it's this verse, first and foremost, that people have felt, the ulama of tafsir have felt, was the reason why Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Surah Hud would make his hair go grey. فَاسْتَقِمْ كَمَا أُمِرْتَ وَمَنْ تَابَ مَعَكَ. And be steadfast as you have been commanded, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَمَنْ تَابَ مَعَكَ. And all those who have made tawbah with you should also be steadfast, and they're also been commanded to have istiqamah. وَلَا تَطْغَوْا إِنَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. وَلَا تَطْغَوْا. Do not transgress. Do not transgress the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not transgress. Do not be rebellious. Indeed, He, Allah, is basirun, is all seeing over everything that you do. وَلَا تَرْكَنُوا إِلَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا. And do not in the slightest incline towards those who are wrongdoers. فَتَمَسَّكُمُ النَّارِ. Lest you be touched by the fire. Allahu Akbar Kabira. This is Allah Ta'ala addressing Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَمَا لَكُمْ, and all the believers, and وَمَنْ تَابَ مَعَكَ. So let all of you not incline towards those who are wrongdoers, lest the fire touch all of you. وَمَا لَكُمْ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. And none of you have any protector apart from Allah Ta'ala. مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ مِن أَوْلِيَاءَ. And will have any protector apart from Allah Ta'ala. ثُمَّ لَا تُنصَرُونَ. And nor will you be helped if you were to incline towards them and transgress. Then Allah Ta'ala mentions وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ طَرَفَيِ النَّهَارَ وَزُلَفًا مِنَ اللَّيْلِ. And you should establish the salah on the two ends of the day and in the early hours of the night. In the early hours of the night. So some ulama have taken this verse to mean to establish the 5 prayers. So the two ends of the day are Fajr and Maghrib, at the start of the day and at the end of the day. Some take it also to mean Fajr and Asr. And the Zulafam min al-Layl, others have taken to mean Maghrib and Isha. Right? And so some combine this with the reference to Salat al-Wusta that was mentioned in Surah Baqarah 238 to give 4 plus 1 equals 5, right? So they mention that there are 4 prayers are mentioned here, and 1 is mentioned there in Salat al-Wusta. So all 5 prayers are mentioned in Quran al-Kareem. Others have said, no, this verse itself contains all 5 salah. So the two ends of the day, Tarafayan Nahari, refers to Fajr and Zohar on the one end and Asr and Maghrib on the other. Waqim as-salat tarafayan nahari, on the one end of the day pray Fajr and Zohar at the beginning part of the day, and at the end part of the day pray Asr and Maghrib, and wuzulafam min al-layli, and then pray Isha at some point in the portion or the depths of the night. Okay? So that is how those who have taken out all 5 prayers from here. Innal hasanati yudhibna sayyi'at. Very important teaching of Quran al-Kareem, that indeed the good deeds, they wipe away, they take away the evil ones. ذَلِكَ ذِكْرَ لِلذَّاكِرِينَ. And this is an advice for those who remember and take heed. وَاصْبِرْ. And the second important thing is to have sabr. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضِيءُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And indeed Allah Ta'ala will not waste the reward of those who do excellent, beautiful acts. Verses 118 to 119. Allah Ta'ala is now, we're almost finishing the surah inshallah, and we'll end for today shortly. وَلَوْ شَاءَ رَبُّكَ لَجَعَلَ النَّاسَ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً وَلَا يَزَالُونَ مُخْتَلِفِينَ. And if Allah Ta'ala, if had your Rabb wanted, your Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, singular Rabb, wanted, He, Allah Ta'ala, would have made humanity all one community. What it means is one community of believers. And then they would not have had any disbelief. But, no, one community. However, وَلَا يَزَالُونَ مُخْتَلِفِينَ. However, the reality is Allah has not made them like that, and Allah has made them in such a way that they do not cease to differ from one another. They never stop disagreeing from one another. So quite the contrary. Alright? إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ رَبُّكَ. Except for those upon whom your Rabb has shown mercy. وَلِذَلِكَ خَلَقَهُمْ. And for this did Allah Ta'ala create them, that they would differ amongst one another. وَتَمَّتْ كَلِمَةُ رَبِّكَ لَأَمْلَأَنَّ جَهَنَّمَ مِنَ الْجِنَّةِ وَالنَّاسِ أَجْمَعِينَ. And thus will be complete the kalima, the word, the decree of your Rabb. What? That surely, that quote Allah Ta'ala said, that surely I shall fill Jahannam with jinn and men all together. With jinn and men all together. What was this? Remember, this is the jinn and men who will follow shaitan. Allah Ta'ala had said earlier that He will fill Jahannam with Iblis and all those who follow him. And so and the manifestation of that is the fact that human beings differ in communities of belief and communities of disbelief. 120 is the verse I mentioned at the start of the surah, that Allah Ta'ala will at the end of Surah Hud mention that all of these narratives have been narrated to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in order to make his heart firm. وَكُلًّا. And each and every one of these narratives, نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ, that we relate to you, upon you, مِنْ أَنْبَاءِ الرُّسُلِ, from the news and events and happenings and histories of the messengers, plural, alayhim as-salam ajmain, مَا نُثَبِّتُ بِهِ فُؤَادَكَ, is so that we may make your fu'ad firm by it. To strengthen the Prophet ﷺ's heart in the face of the opposition of the mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah, to console his heart, the wounds of his heart due to the opposition of the mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah. وَجَاءَكَ فِي هَذِهِ الْحَقُّ, and has come to you in this Quran al-Kareem al-Haqq, absolute truth, وَمَوْئِذَةٌ, and an admonition, وَذِكْرَى, and a reminder and advice, لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ, for the believers. So, وَقُلِ الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ اعْمَلُوا عَلَى مَكَانَتِكُمْ. So now proclaim to them, Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, those who do not believe, that they should do what they do upon their position. Inna amilun, and we are also going to act. Wantaziru inna muntazirun, and that they should wait for the decree, and we also are waiting. Now again, remember that in the case of Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Allah Ta'ala is not going to come with a command that He will punish the mushrikeen, as you saw earlier that we did that verse. Allah Ta'ala said that the punishment will not come as long as you're amongst them. But victory will come another way, which is number one, Fatih Makkah, which is number two, that the Sahaba Kiram, there will be a large group who will believe, and number three, that group who believes will become dominant over those who don't believe. And the reason why Allah Ta'ala was sent punishments on those earlier communities of the earlier prophets was because even though they were believers, they were small and few in number, and they weren't able to be dominant on those who disbelieved. So there's a stark difference in the historical reality. Again, this is the azmat and the greatness of Sahaba Kiram radiyallahu ta'ala ajmain, and these are several reasons why Allah is not going to send a punishment, but you will wait for deen to be ghalib on earth. And finally, the last verse for Surah Hud, and the last verse for today, وَلِلَّهِ غَيْبُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, and to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala belongs all that is unseen, that is in the firmaments and heavens and transcendent realms, and all that is unseen in the earth. وَإِلَيْهِ يُرْجَأُ الْأَمْرُ, and to Him alone does every matter revert and return. كُلُّهُ, each and every one. فَاعْبُدْهُ, therefore worship Him. وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَيْهِ, and have trust and rely upon Him. وَمَا رَبُّكَ بِغَافِلٍ أَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ, and your Rabb is not heedless of all that which you do. So this is the end of Surah Hud. We make dua that Allah Ta'ala give us tawfiq to learn the lessons from the lives of the previous prophets. We make dua that Allah Ta'ala send His salawat on Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and reward him immensely for facing this adversity and opposition and heartbreak and heartache in order to establish deen, so that deen can reach you and me. We ask dua to we make dua to Allah Ta'ala to raise and elevate the ranks of the Sahaba Kiram radiyallahu ta'ala ajmain, who were the supporters of Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in his mission of Nabuwa, and due to whom again deen was transmitted from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to later generations. Ameen. Wa akhir da'wana an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.